saying it's our fault because we believe in that which is not believable. A lot of us thinking that these corporate fools, these scientific people that keep belting these nightmares out on us is going to give us some solution. Understand, we're in the problem that we're in right now because we have misplaced what our values are.
WIOF-LP, Woodstock 104, and we have some very special guests in the studio. It's just a couple of minutes before 5 o'clock, and Joe Barton is here, and we're going to let Joe Barton introduce everybody. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm not going to do much talking because the people that are here, I really want them to have as much say as they can get. I want to start this off with Pam Africa, who's one of my favorite speakers. And she's going to talk about political prisoners and what a mess this country is. So take it away, Pam.
Okay. I have my brother here, Mike Africa. He was born in prison when the Rizzo administration attacked our family in 1978 because we spoke up and continue to speak up about the wrongs that is happening in our communities. When I'm talking about our communities, I'm talking about the world communities, and with environmental issues, and the problems in the hospitals, the problems, with urban removal, and, all these different things. But my family was locked up, and first our home was attacked in 1978, and by the Rizzo administration. They brought thousands of pounds of ammunition, machine guns, hand grenades, and I'm not talking about May 13th when they dropped the bomb. That's 1985. I'm talking about 1978, and when the Rizzo administration came out to murder our family again. And this was not the first time, but it was the first time that it was televised around the world. And my brother, Mike Africa, he wasn't even born. I think it was Debbie might have been just going into her 9th month of pregnancy when this had occurred. So I want my brother to speak first, because his mother and two other of our sisters is fighting for parole. So Mike, on the move.
On the move. Like as Pam said, my parents are in prison. They've been in prison since 1978, and for the last 7 years, since 2008, they've been denied parole. So we've been fighting for parole for them. They was accused of killing a cop on August 8th, 1978, but they said that the cop was killed with a bullet from a gun. But the women don't even have weapons charges on them, but they still are forced to stay in prison and be denied parole. One of the reasons the parole board said that they were denying them parole is because they said they refused to admit guilt. But why are they supposed to admit to something that they didn't do? Furthermore, the charges that they have on them aren't even charges that would make them guilty. But they're continuing to keep them in prison because of the fact that they are MOVE members and they won't turn against the teaching of John Africa. And that is clear and evident in the fact that they were not the only people that were in the house on August 8th, 1978. There was other people that were in the house, but they were released once they were arrested. They were released from police custody once they were found out to not even be MOVE members. So it's a long and drawn out history, and where the city of Philadelphia and the federal government have targeted MOVE and wanted to always keep to eliminate the organization. So we've been fighting to keep going and to be strong and to continue to talk about and expose the wrong in the system. And as you know, if you fight against the system, if you expose the system, then you will be targeted by the system. But you should also know that you're not targeted by the system if you speak out, because people that don't speak out are also targeted by the system. I mean, we were just listening to a song before we came on the air that was dedicated to Rodney King, and Rodney King was not a revolutionary, but he was targeted by the system because the system targets anybody. And if you're black, or if you are poor, or if you are of a certain social class that you're not, that is not accepted by the system, then you'll be targeted by the system. And the cops run around doing whatever they want to do. They shoot people down in the street. They don't go to jail for it. They don't be punished for it. They actually get rewarded for it. So these are the things that MOVE always spoke out about. The injustice in the system is something we've always talked about, and as a result of it, we were targeted as well. And that is the real reason behind our people being in prison. John Africa taught us a long time ago that the system is controlled by pressure, and we have to keep the pressure on them. We have to put the pressure on them to do what is right, to do what is necessary for us, and that's what us fighting against the unjust parole stipulations is all about. So they come up for parole. The women come up for parole in May. We're having a program in New York City on February 12th, and to make more people aware and to put more pressure on the system to release our people. So February 12th, look out for it in New York City. Riverside Church in New York City. We will be there February 12th to fight for the release, for the parole of our MOVE women.
Okay, I am now the director of the program, right? Yes. So, Mike Africa, can you tell us what are the teachings of John Africa?
The teachings of John Africa is life. We believe in life. We believe in what is right. We believe in, I don't mean life in no abstract form. I'm talking about the air, the water, the soil. This is why we're targeted. We're targeted because John Africa taught us to understand and value that which keeps you alive. And when you're talking about doing something that is keeping you healthy, then you're talking about eating healthy food. Well, if you're talking about eating healthy food, then you're talking about going against the industry that the system put out here to fight against the healthy food. I'm saying, GMO, Monsanto, you got these people running around poisoning the food. I mean, they got so many laws against you even being allowed to grow your own food. And so these John Africa taught MOVE people to be strong, to be healthy, to not be dependent on the system. It's the system that make people sick. It's the system that give people all of these medicine. I mean, looking right here at the when we came in the studio, we saw a piece of paper, Hudson Valley facing the Hudson Valley's heroin problem. I mean, people are these drugs that are out here. I mean, crack came in with Ronald Reagan. It ain't come in with the animals. It ain't come in with the wolves. It ain't come in with the whales that are slaughtered into virtual extinction. It ain't come in with the cats in Africa. I'm saying all of this stuff is a result of the system. And John Africa taught us to do what is necessary to be strong, so that we can understand the importance of strength, so that we don't fall victim to these things, to this weakness of the system. And so that's why we exercise constantly. We eat. We try to eat as healthy as we can. We constantly drink plenty of water. And we try to stay away from things that we know are going to be things that's just going to hurt us and poison us. And and because of that, we exposed other people to the teaching of John Africa. MOVE women have been taught and given a strategy by John Africa's teaching, so that we don't even have to go to hospitals to have our babies. We don't have to go to hospitals to have babies. We don't go to hospitals. We don't be getting sick all the time. And that's because we just believe in health. And we stay active. And John Africa gave us this understanding, so that we don't fall victim to this stuff the way like others do. And also, not only the health and physical health, but the mental health as well. Because, people are dependent on the system because they've been trained to be. I mean, the system, people, they take the kids when they're young and they force them. It is illegal to not send your children to school. People should really question that. I mean, if the government was really doing something good for us, why are they forcing us to do things that they are training into us? Not something that we're getting because we need it, but they're training. They force you to go to school and force that on you, but they won't force healthcare on you. They won't force healthy food on you. I mean, but we're living in this system where this is the kind of stuff that happens. I mean, You got politicians who are out and out lying to people, and people are forced to vote for it. They are forcing people to vote for them. You know, saying excuse me on that. Saying things like you got to choose the lesser of two evils. You know what I'm saying? If you got to choose the lesser of two evils, what kind of system are we really living in? I mean, they're both evil, but you have to choose one of them. That makes absolutely no sense at all. I'm saying if somebody put a glass of water, a poisonous water on the table, and say, well, this one has 100% poison in it. Well, this one has 90% poison in it. Do you really have to choose one of them? That makes absolutely no sense. So, you know, John Africa taught us you ain't got to choose either one of them. What you should choose is what's right. So what we do is we push both of those glasses of poison off the table and drink something else. You know, and you know, eat healthy food, eat food from the trees, eat food from the ground. You know, and as a result of that, teaching other people that strategy, and that is something that really threatens the system because you're not dependent on them as much. You're not dependent on them. You're not looking for them and expecting from them and going to them and shopping from them. So when that happens, they start losing money. When they start losing money, everybody knows what happened when the system start losing money. They panic. Gas prices goes up. I mean, you got to pay for everything. You got to pay for water. Give them a minute and we'll be walking around with oxygen tanks strapped to our backs, and we'll be walking around sucking down air that they created because they are poisoning everything and making you pay for everything that you need. You know, and so, you know, this is John Africa's teaching, and we're seeing a result of John Africa's wisdom, because years ago you didn't have to buy water. There was a time where you could twist your tap on your water and you could drink the water straight out of the sink. Now you're taking a risk.
And there were springs.
There were springs. We used to go to the spring all the time. The springs are shut down. You know, they're shutting them down because they say that they're polluted. Maybe they are, but maybe they're also just shutting them down just because they were free, and they want people to pay for water. The water, they say the bottled water industry makes more money annually than Coca-Cola, because so many people are bottling water. And if you look at the water that they're bottling, where are they getting it from? Because come on, let's be real.
They wanted to get it from here.
I'm sure they did. I mean, they say New York City is has some of the cleanest tap water in the country because the water comes from upstate and the water is really clean. But look, give the system a minute and they'll destroy everything. They destroy everything they touch. There's junk all over the moon, because when they go up in space, they trash that place. I mean, these are the people that actually dropped a bomb on the moon. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they dropped the bomb on the moon. These people are just maniacs. And so we don't sit by quietly and act like it don't exist. We actually talk about it.
And excuse me, I had something in my throat, and I'm about ready to sneeze at any minute. So if I turn
we'll
it
try
over
to catch
to you,
that.
don't want you to catch it now.
When you're ready, though, I'd like to hear what you told us at the community center at the Martin Luther King commemoration regarding Mumia and his state of health, and what happened between when we thought he had diabetes because of the bad prison food. I mean, I don't know how anybody could survive eating prison food and not have diabetes.
Most people don't.
Because of the high fructose corn sweetener that's in everything they give the prisoners, I think, to try to kill them, try to finish them off. So I'd like to hear a repeat at some point of Mumia's recent history in prison and what's going on with him. Right.
You know, on the way up, I was looking at a card that said had a tape like over Mumia's mouth, and it was called The Silencing of Mumia. Because before we got into the situation with the diabetes, and we were dealing with an issue where Mumia spoke at Goddard School, Goddard College, and gave a commencement speech, and the FOP went crazy about this. And, you know, it just seems sort of strange because this is a smaller college. It was a classroom that he was speaking to. Mumia has spoken at colleges around the world. And, you know, with a large audience, and it had been videoed and everything. Not a peep owl, except one time several years ago. So Goddard Mumia was asked to speak there, and the FOP went crazy. They went and they brought Maureen Faulkner up. They got senators in order to try to pass this bill to silence Mumia and anyone who spoke out on Mumia's behalf. So in order to do it for Mumia, because they learned when they tried to do it when he wrote his book, stop him from being able to write, and it had to go all the way across the board, and it was backed up off of that. Because one thing, corporate America, they don't give a damn about these arguments that's going back and forth between the FOP and, Mumia. Them wanting to kill Mumia. If it messed with big business, they got rid of the FOP back then. And here they come at this particular time, and the legislation that they were putting on the floor meant that, not only that they were silencing Mumia, but anybody that wrote a book on Mumia, like we're having this radio show right now, and you have been subject for a lawsuit. And it didn't have to come from Maureen Faulkner, which is Officer Faulkner's, wife, whose Mumia's accused of killing. It could come from her third cousin. It could come from anybody that was related and said that, this really made them feel bad. And, you'll see on TV programs about prison life. And, people who have books about, things that's happening in prison, documentaries. That meant that all that stuff would have to been...
Yeah.
Oh, what's FOP? Fraternal Order of Police. And my brother just passed me a note saying that, some people might not understand.
I was wondering exactly what that was myself.
Oh, yeah,
so
Fraternal Order Police, FOP, Fools on Parade, and but they're dangerous fools that's on parade because they'll listen to anything and will do anything. They're hired hitmen and women, and they're coming to our communities and, to... gang up because it's like gang war. And these are the guys with the guns, and they're coming to you like if you're on your step or, in your community. And they come up, in the black community, some young white kid come up with a gun on, talking about, clear the corner. And you're not doing anything. You're drinking a beer on your steps. And, they tell you, you got to go in the house. And, these things lead to confrontations, in the community. And black people wind up being killed. And, so I'm saying, they're dangerous because, a lot of people want to believe that, these people are acting outside of the law. They're taught to be this way. And if you only look at how many black men, women, and children who have been murdered in this last year and years before, how many cops have you seen sitting on death row, going to jail? None of them. And they bring charges up against them, and then the charges, you go to one court, then they get dropped. And like when they dropped the bomb, killing 11 men, women, and children in my family, and my sister Pam Africa was the only person to go to jail. These people... When they had a civil hearing after my sister got out of jail, there was a civil suit filed. They were found, you could not use it. They dropped a military C4 explosive bomb on my family. The judge told them that they could not use the word bomb or C4 military explosive. The word that have to be used is an entering device. And, other people played that game, but my sister called it what it was when she was up there. They dropped a bomb on her. The things that they do to cover up, when the trial was over, they found them liable for the crime. And what was the crime? They dropped the bomb and killed 11 men, women, and children. They said that they were liable. Do liable mean guilty? If you're liable for dropping the bomb, aren't you guilty of murder?
Yeah.
Right. So they use the word liable. The jury comes back and with that they were I'll say guilty, liable for the crime, and sentenced. Their suggestion was that the city managing director and which was a Leo Brooks, who came from the Pentagon. See, this was a well planned out conspiracy to commit murder when Rizzo failed. So they went into the Army. They went into the military. They brought the feds and the CIA on, to stop this. My family, when they wanted to tell people the reason why this was happening is because Move used foul language, and Move was describing foul things with the English language. That word MFR, and that ain't something that Move invented. That's their word, and it describes them very well. Anytime somebody just lock up, maim, kill, murder from the time a baby is in the belly. Mass murdering babies, and then when they come out, then they got people who will protest, and this is the hypocrisy of this system. People will protest about abortion right people, and I'm not confused, and I'm not an abortion rights person. I am pro-life all the way across the board, whether you're in the womb or outside of the womb. And but we'll turn around and protest in front of us an abortion center, and turn around and uphold a death sentence on someone. Will uphold Ritalin in the schools. And I'm not putting these people down. I'm just saying that the confusion that goes on here, and by people who think they're doing the right thing because you taught to think inside the box. You can't see no further than this. And like a donkey with blinders on, right here, what they tell you to see. You can't see over here that, when you talking about saving the life over here, and then tell your sons and your daughters to go to fight this man's war. And tell your sons and daughters that a politician is right. And we voted for it. Fracking. The murder of men, women, and children. You allow, because, when I don't vote, I didn't vote to get in this mess, but I fight like hell to get the hell from out of it and bring other people along with me. What I say to people who vote, you better make it work for you. And people will say that, if you don't vote, you don't count. You damn right, I do not count in polluting this water. I fight to get it unpolluted. I don't belong in that category, and we're giving our children Ritalin, and which can turn them out to be heroin addicts later. Ritalin is a drug.
And
it's a dangerous drug. Prozac. What is it? Prozac.
Prozac.
All these drugs they give our children, to babies and stuff, and and then turn around and lock them up later on. And a child who gets hooked on Prozac or Ritalin is dependent upon that drug. If you come out of school and you don't have a job and you got a dependency, somebody better look out. Because with that dependency that they have, they're going to need to get what they have to get it on. So then no longer, that child that you put on it, all of a sudden now you're going to call them a junkie. You're going to say that, they're not, worth, anything. You're going to send them to another drug place where they give them, what's that stuff that they give them that just as bad because it doesn't kill them? Methadone. And you learn about the horrors of that, but you keep voting these fools in that continue to do that. They want to tell you how good they working for you. Well, if they working really good for you, how come you got more hospitals today than you had yesterday? How come every corner that you look on, there's Rite Aid, there's CVS, there's this drugstore, that drugstore. And at one point you used to have the family doctor in the community.
Let me jump in a little on this. We have a heroin epidemic. That heroin epidemic is because the government is bringing in these drugs.
That's right.
And now the legislature wants to pass a law that if someone supplies heroin, and say two kids go and one kid cops heroin, and he gives it to his friend. If his friend ODs, they now want to give a life sentence or a death sentence to the kid who supplied it. But yet we have the government bringing it in C-4 planes by tons, and none of them are going to jail. I just wanted to bring that up. Right now, they're trying to pass a law that kids could be, anybody supplying a heroin addict with heroin can now be charged for murder if that heroin addict ODs. And that's just one kid, two kids that are friends, one kid dies, the other kid winds up doing life. That's just another way for them to keep filling our prisons.
Exactly. And killing our people, you know? And when I say our people, I'm talking about people. I'm not putting color on them or anything else.
Right.
Black lives is something that, you know, this is part of that war that they have, and to keep us fighting each other. Yes, they do. They kill more of us than they kill anybody. That's because of that hateful nature. But at the same time, as long as we are fighting each other, you know, we're not looking at them. And the dangers that they're doing, like this heroin situation here, it's no different in Philadelphia, but you don't see people in the street fighting or flyers. To my knowledge, it could be happening about this heroin epidemic. And, you know, they need to deal with the issue of heroin, and the cure for heroin is not methadone. And if somebody died of a methadone overdose, do you go after the doctor who gave it to him? Do you go after the nurse in the schools that you made the drug pusher? And because they're the ones who determine whether or not a child, or if they send them to psychiatrists or whatever, who gets on Ritalin. And because a child is up or moving around, or they understand that these people is talking pure bull. They're talking pure bull, and when they speak out about it, their thing is to go. I mean, how is it unsuspecting poor men, women, and who have no food on the table, if you give your child Ritalin or some other drug, they will subsidize you. And some people wind up doing it because they think they're doing the right thing. And you know, but at the point that you find out you're not doing the right thing, or your neighbor, or, you know, someone else find out, and you are obligated not to just fight for that child, but to fight for all the children that there is. Oh, do not bang on table. I'm sorry, I've been banging on the table, but, you know, it's just, you know, it's the fight is so overwhelming, but the fight can be won. And the reason why the fight hasn't won so far, because they have people duped into thinking that you can't beat this thing, this monster, this government, and you know, and corporations sit way up in there in the air when, you know, you're going after the president, you're going after the mayor, you're going after the FOP, when you got to go to the top down. These are nothing but errand boys, and for big business, and to put the fight, you know, it's not at us. And you go to the cool jazz festival and think that thing is all hip, and these are cold-blooded murderers. These are the people who are telling you on their cigarettes and that smoking this can cause death. They ain't lock these people up for giving, and they're gonna lock a person who's addicted to a drug like heroin. If one OD, the other one goes to jail, then every last one of these
Marlboro, Newport, Salem,
yes,
they still
yes,
raking
all
money
of them.
in.
The people that are polluting the water company, the people that's polluting the air, and these people that's just dumping this toxic waste in our communities, and people, bodies are being torn apart on the inside, mothers looking at their children dying before them, and ain't a damn thing that they can do because they don't have the money to combat what these all this stuff is coming. Oh, all right. And you know what these people are doing, and we keep saying, and the answer to this is to vote. Well, if that was the answer, none of this shit wouldn't be happening. We wouldn't be sitting here talking about poisoning our water, our air, talking about the miseducation of our children, talking about bombing and raping and stealing throughout the whole damn United States. We wouldn't be talking about that if politics worked. And they'll turn around and say that people died for you to have this vote. People at that point was fighting for something that was new, that they thought would make a change. And it hasn't made a change. But they keep telling you, and I get so pissed when I hear somebody turn around and say, Malcolm said the ballot or the bullet. You know, like the ballot was the solution. And they gave Malcolm the bullet. They gave Martin the bullet. They gave Kennedy the bullet. They keep giving our children the bullet, and they keep saying, vote. This is our solution. What I'm saying is, when somebody tell you that, and and people just, vote, and the day after, if the candidate won, it's like, whip-de-doo, go on. Like this fool Obama. Like this fool Obama. Because if he really gave a damn about anybody that he's over, he couldn't do the things that he's doing now. And I'm saying, every problem that we have, they say, oh, and he gave you Obamacare. Excuse me? Excuse me? Is that the solution to the mass murders of babies? He gave us Obamacare, but I'm saying he allowed some fool to turn around and charge $1,000 per pill. He know that. He know that in India it's $4 a pill. He is the errand boy for big business. He do what big business tell him to do, as anybody. And Bernie Sanders getting there, it's the same damn thing. Until I'm saying we keep looking outside ourselves. And they ain't got sense enough to take and fight for their air, their water. And one thing that Obama would do, he'll fight like hell to keep his 2 daughters out of this war, and while pushing yours in the war. And the only way that people can get an education or a job right now, and without a whole lot of fuss, you go sign yourself up to go rape, rob, murder, steal, kill on somebody else's land. While here, your mother's being beaten. Your daughter is being drugged. Your son is being raped in these prisons. Our people being picked up off the street, thrown in jail for crimes that they haven't committed. The crimes of this government is crimes of everybody. Why do you think children think that they can go ahead and all these gangs with big money that put drugs and stuff in our communities and stuff from big business think that they can get away with it? Because they see it. Why a cop think that he can shoot somebody down in the street and get away with it? Body cams is the answer. Well, goddamn, people have body cams on, and our children are still being shot down. Sure. And they still come up with a goddamn excuse. And I'm saying the solution to the problem is not to look outside yourself, but look inside yourself and decide you want to love yourself. You want to love your children, truly love them. And then when you do that, you will fight for them, and you'll fight any foul effort that's in your way. And I'm saying guns. People say we need to get some guns. Get the heck out of here. Gaddafi had guns. All the people around the world have guns and bombs and things. That ain't the solution. You got to kill the mentality that does this. This is why they killed King. King didn't have a damn gun. Malcolm didn't have a gun. Move didn't have one. And the power of truth and ability to wake people up and make them think and understand what the problem is. The problem is the dude that come in your neighborhood and shoot your child. The problem is us who allow that stuff to go on. I'm saying ain't no black cop, number one, is going to go in any white neighborhood, beat the shit out of a white person, kill a white person, whether they white with money or without, because they got to keep that separation going, and they got to keep that illusion going. And Mumia wrote a piece today, and I think it's called The War on White Men. The war on white men is about how this government and he used just one example, Bill Clinton and NAFTA. When he sent those jobs outside of this country, people voted for him. People held black folks, some of them, and held this man as the first black president. Oh, whip-de-doo, he did this. This man ended, unions. He put an end to the fight for unions. He sent the jobs outside the country, and union people, what he said to them is that, look, you don't like it, and we'll take this from you too. So they trying to hold on to whatever little bit that they got, and while turning around and just allowing. I can't see that. We gotta go. No, the time, they passing me notes. I can't.
It sounds like you just got warmed up.
Yeah, but you can't keep sending me notes while I'm trying to, say something.
Oh, I hear that. I don't like that either.
It breaks your thought. I gotta stop and turn around, and I don't have no glasses on. Try to figure out what that say, and it say stop saying the other words, say something else, and it's too late now. If I offended anybody, and in this audience with my language, just understand it's the language, and the things that I'm saying, the words that you find foul, they come from the fact that you're dealing with a foul, filthy system, and sometimes you cannot use words of beauty to describe the filth that these people do. And also, again, if I offended you, just listen, just remove yourself from those other words and understand what I'm saying, because I'm talking about love. I'm talking about love for yourself. I'm talking about love for your children, and that's all that is. We got a long ride back. My brother has some things that he have to do, and usually we sit, with Terry and them at the Chinese restaurant, and we laugh and we get a chance to talk, and we mobilize, more people into the work. I want to thank you for the time that you've given us to speak out, and I will do it at any time. And again, I'm not telling nobody not to vote. I'm saying that is not the solution, but if you vote and you put one of these people in there, you are obligated to stay on their back about the wrongs that they're doing. If you love that person, and I'll make sure that person do the right thing, because what's right for me and what's right for you and right for all humanity, if we ain't talking about getting rid of the corporations that control this, get rid of it, make it more dangerous for people, and I'm not talking about shooting nobody. I'm saying by exposing these politicians, these mayors, these presidents, these ministers that's in our community that's misleading, and you ain't talking about loving your children. And because the misleading of us throughout all these years had got us air. And my brother was talking about pretty soon you'll be walking around with oxygen tanks strapped to your back. That stuff is happening right now. I have a sister, and that's older than me. She's not in move, and she, my biological sister, she walks around with one strapped to her back. She got tanks lined all across her wall, and she's not the only one. If you look and you see people walking, they have this air thing up their nose and stuff, that's because we did not fight. Because it wasn't always like that. In a minute, it's going to be all of us walking that way. And this is what this conversation here is about all of us getting up and realizing that we do not have no time to sit around and try to figure out what to do. It ain't but one thing to do, and that is to stop and start fighting this thing the way it's supposed to be fought. Ain't no politician going to legislate it away from you, because they write one dog. They're the ones that legislated the laws that messed the air up. They're the ones that legislated the laws that messed the water up. They're the ones that legislated the laws that have everybody in prison. They're the ones who legislated the laws that gave the person the right to take a $4 pill and put it into 1,000. And and then have people think, well, they're in prison, they must have did something wrong. If you can't start with looking at yourself and the wrongs that we have done for humanity, more people are dead because of the silence that we have in us, the fight that we refuse to put on the right thing. You'll fight about some menial stuff, but when it comes to the person, you talk about, that's a mass murderer, and blah, blah, blah. Who is the biggest mass murderers? And like I said, go to the Cool Jazz Festival, get all dressed up and stuff, and study giving money to the people that's causing your heartache, when you seeing your loved one die of cancer, and study giving your money and seeing Mr. whatever his daggone name is, once people see as Mr. Dudley Do-Right and stuff, the one who is doing all wrong for you. And especially if it's black, give him another chance. He only been in there 4 years. Give him another chance. He only been there 8 years. And but what do they do for corporations in that 4 and that 8? Chances is over. They want to, people say we need to have a woman president in there. Well, we've had women. In order to be there, you got to be as them. You don't see them saying nothing no different. They talking about war. They talking about stopping people from Mexico to come over here. Well, la-di-da. People cross the whole goddamn ocean to get over here to take the land from the Mexicans, to take the land from the indigenous people. Who's fighting for them? Leonard Peltier sitting up in prison, dying, being tortured to hell to death. And while these mass murderers walk around you, and you know they come to your schools, you clap for them. They come to your communities, and because they want to tell some lie to keep you obligated to them. And we have got to stop. We have got to stop. The power to take this government down is within us. And my brother Abdul says, people about Pharaoh. Say it real quick.
It used to be a thing about Pharaoh, let my people go, but at this day and time, it's a matter of my people, let Pharaoh go. I'm saying we hold on to this government, we cling to it, we make it what it is, and it's only, the only strength it has is the weaknesses it implants in us.
Well, with that said, I would say on the move, long live John Africa, long live the power to pull all things together, and we cannot whip this thing divided. That's why this government keeps us all scattered. But if we come together in one strong fist and come at this government, we can take it down. And I'm not talking about with guns and stuff, because we are no match for them. And and some people, if that's what they do, that's on them. That's not my way of fighting. And and I'm saying people got to do what the heck they got to do, and to get this monster off our backs. On the move.
And we want to thank you, Pam and friends, for coming here and giving us the rap. A lot of what you've been saying is what I've been saying for a long time, and that's. I talk about freeing the marijuana prisoners and a lot of the prisoners, and how crazy the prison system is, how corrupt our judicial system is. That's what most of my shows are about.
Mm-hmm. And they'll turn around and lock somebody up for marijuana, and if they see some kid with marijuana, they lock them up, and they got this thing, if you have a certain amount, but you can have a carton of damn cigarettes, you can have a whole carton of cigarettes. And it's clear that causes murder. Most people who smoke marijuana, they ain't gonna do nothing but laugh and, but wind up having the munchies and eating and, organizing and things like that,
And then going to sleep.
Well, some of them,
And that was why under Nixon, all the marijuana people were going and protesting. And that was why under Nixon they flooded this country with heroin. Mm-hmm. And it was Nixon who started the heroin epidemic, along with the CIA and the FBI. They're beeping for you out there. I think they want you to hurry up. I hate to see you go.
Right.
Well, thanks for coming.
Too.
Let me just take two quick things. First off, if anybody was offended by any language, maybe they need to be. And secondly, regarding anybody suing this station regarding putting on a program in support of Mobile Abu Jamal, then if you want to sue us, get in line.
On the move.
We've been sued by Tougher. And we're still here. Okay. So thank you so much for coming. Really, really an honor to have you here.
And it's not a year that I'm going to miss the Martin Luther King celebration. Last year, and we had the worst storm.
Oh, yeah.
And we were here. We were here. It was very few people that was here, but we were here because we understand, and that this is our family up here. Mm-hmm. And we always have been able to work together, for the betterment of life. So whenever I can get here to be with family, I'm coming.
And anytime you come, please drop in. Our airwaves are your airwaves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime.
My brother gonna beat me up.
Yeah.
All
right.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks for coming. And a hug for me too. What we're gonna do right now, unless do you have anything else you want to do on the air right now, Joe?
I'll do a couple minutes and.
Okay. All right. So we're still on. So go.
Okay. And for those of you who missed the thing at the community center, the Martin Luther King thing, it'll be happening again next year, and you people should catch it. And
You're gonna be able to catch it right now, because when you finish, that's what we're going to go to. We're going to play the entire 2 hours and 15 minutes that we have, so you'll get to hear Pam and all the other guests that were there.
Yeah.
So it's coming up next, so don't go anywhere.
And stay with this, because to hear Pam talk at the community center was wonderful.
Oh, that was rousing.
It's time for all you people out there to get involved. You know, like Pam was saying, they get you to vote. You vote for the lesser of two evils, you're still voting for evil. And many people have given me a lot of slack because I'm always telling people don't vote, because voting is just encouraging them or giving consent to what they do. And what they do is evil, you know. And it's time for the American people to wake up and say, we don't accept this evil government. We don't accept this government creating evil, doing evil in our name, and doing evil because we voted for him. It's time to put a stop to it. And you can run that now.
You're done?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Woodstock 104, WIOF-LP, Woodstock 104. It's coming up on 5:45, and so what we're going to play is going to take about 2 hours and 15 minutes. I think the entire program ran at the community center, and Paula just walked in. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Paula?
No, I'm just saying it was an honor to be around all of these people, and the event was so good. It offset all of my grumbling about the remodel of the community center.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can grumble about that later. But I noticed that there was a ladder in a place where it shouldn't be, and it was like on display tonight.
It was just beautiful. It was
but
a wonderful,
the event
inspiring
was fabulous. Yes. Yeah. Okay, then. Well, you guys are going to be back on here tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So if you missed any portion of what we just had with Pam Africa and discussing the move and Momia and Martin Luther King's legacy and the prison system and everything, that will be on tomorrow night at 10. This will be broadcast as part of it. And now coming up, what we have is, as I said, the Martin Luther King event at the Woodstock Community Center. It started at about 2 o'clock this afternoon and went until after, well after 4, about 4:30. So we are going to go to that recording right now, right here at Woodstock 104.
Dr. King was a champion in the struggle against Jim Crow and for racial justice for everyone in America. We are now in the midst of a new battle against the new Jim Crow. And that's what today's program is about. It's about justice for 3 men who are incarcerated. One of them was incarcerated. And we feel they represent what's happening to people of color, particularly young men of color, in this new system. So, justice for Mumia Abu-Jamal. Justice for Samuel Harrell. And can we bow our head for a second, since he was murdered by a gang of prison guards? So please, a moment. And justice for Shane Watson, rotting in prison, accused of murdering someone by false eyewitness testimony. These men and their families are here today. And Pam Africa is here today. They are the inspiration. We are going to continue to struggle. An engine is in the process of forming families against mass incarceration. I'd like to call up at this point, he's way in the back of the room, Woodstock's supervisor, Jeremy Wilbur, and I call him Mr. Ban the Box.
Mr. Ban the Box.
For all he has done to remove the box in Woodstock. And you need a mic. I should not use the mic because I get too excited. All right, Mr. Wilbur.
Can you hear me? Yes. Good. I like microphones. Thank you so much for coming. You know, Woodstock sponsors 5 events each year. This is one of them. So I really thank the people, Terry, your colleagues, putting all this together. We've done it for many, many years now, and it's never a disappointment. It's always an education. She mentioned Band the Box. I was educated here a couple of years ago to what is called the new Jim Crow. Yes, I was vaguely aware that there was a big disparity between how minorities were treated under the law and how the rest of us are. And that was what brought home the whole Band the Box issue to me. Woodstock was the very first community in all of Ulster County.
Jeremy, they can't hear you. Want to say the mic?
Woodstock was the very first community in all of Ulster County. Stolen 2 days later when the county followed suit. But we were the first. These celebrations in educating myself and the Woodstock Town Board. So thank you. You know, we're here to celebrate the life of a man who had a dream. Seems a very simple dream. Judge people by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. It wouldn't be simpler than that. But boy, do we see what's happening. It's not that we've made no progress as a society, but boy, oh boy, do we have far to go. It just becomes more and more evident. Thank God for the iPhone that brings so much of this injustice to light. Really, thank God for the iPhone. It's just, that's what's really put in front of us, and hopefully that's what's going to lead to real change, positive change in our society. I'll tell you, I sometimes wonder, I sometimes despair. I don't know if this is the Rock of Sisyphus or the Book of Job. Either way, we ain't happy. Because we had a leader, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. I will not despair. Because this day is set aside to remember him, his courage, his words, his inspiration. But I do not despair. But I fight with you. And the day will come, maybe not in our lifetime, but the day will come when we will be judged by the content of our character and not the color of our skin.
Well, we can do it without a mic. I can. I'm calling up Deborah Berger. A great folk singer and songwriter, and in the wings is Reverend G. Modelli Clark.
So let's start with a song that honors the movement that Dr. Martin Luther King was such a leader in. And join me in singing, Oh, Freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And if I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. No more segregation. No more segregation. No more segregation. No more segregation over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave to my Lord and be free. No more Jim Crow. No more Jim Crow. No more Jim Crow. No more Jim Crow over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. No more mass incarceration. No more mass incarceration. No more mass incarceration. No more mass incarceration over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free.
And now, for quite a lot of years, maybe 10? 18. Yes, when was I 18? All right, Modella. Pastor Clark and New Progressive Baptist Church has been a home, not just for his congregation, but for many people in Ulster County who are in action against the new Jim Crow. Pastor Clark is a phenomenal leader. Probably kill him for this. And he's a journalist. He's a great historian in my book. And what he has to say usually keeps me spellbound. And he knows how to develop a theme. He sticks to the theme of today, which is an unjust law is no law at all, and taking inspiration from Dr. King's message from a Birmingham jail. So without further ado, and don't put me down. Reverend Clark.
Good afternoon. That's a lot to live up to. But I'll try my best. I'm here for a few minutes to try to convince you and to encourage you and to give the rest of you license to do more than we're doing. We all think that we're doing a lot, right? And some of us know we're not doing nearly enough, right? So I've come today to encourage us to do more because of some of the reasons we're here today. To fight injustice everywhere, to raise our voices and to let the world know that justice is not just a commodity for a few, but for everyone. So, I want to, can you hear me all right? Yeah. Because I just preached this morning without a mic. We are moving from one location back to our permanent location, and we've taken all the stuff out, so bear with me. So there's a quote from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. that hasn't received much attention over the years, but I'd like to bring it to your attention today, and it is, nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscious stupidity. As separate entities, ignorance and stupidity can be entertaining comic relief, especially in stressful times. That's why they feature so prominently in our favorite TV sitcoms. Even in pre-medieval times, there was always employment for the court jester. We love to make fun of the ignorant and the stupid. But in real life, sincere ignorance and conscious stupidity can be a lethal combination. And these two entities have made their way into a troubling 2016 presidential campaign slogan. Let's make America great again. Have you heard that one? Make America great again? At first glance, it appears to be a silly slogan by a silly man running a silly campaign. At first glance. I had all but dismissed it as so much primary election garbage when I realized something significant. None of it was silly. Not the man, not his slogan, nor the impact on his followers. I decided not to be as dismissive as I was of earlier conservative rallying cries. I mean, can we talk? I mean, I'm throwing the word conservative out there and like hoping. Do you recall the conservative response to yes, I can, yes, we can? You have to go back to 2008. The mantra of President Barack Obama, his presidential campaign. Can you go back that far with me? Yes, we can. The conservative response was, let's take America back. Y'all remember that? There are some striking implicit and explicit messages in both of those GOP slogans. If we take the time to examine the seemingly innocuous conservative challenge we first heard in 2008, let's take America back, there is an explicit national call to arms. The let's, a contraction of let us, or let us all, was a desperate rallying cry to all true Americans. Remember, this is the ultra-conservative worldview of the us. As in every true American, as calling for the recreation of some fictionalized, idealized America. This idealized America is an America void of liberals, blacks, Jews, Muslims, and gays. Did I leave anybody out? Amen. The us in this Take Back America message embodies a rejection of an America where the election of a black president president is unthinkable, much less possible. The us in this clarion call cannot accept an America where the appointment of not one, but 2 black U.S. attorneys general would be possible. We talked about Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch. The us to whom this desperate cry is directed steadfastly refuses to acknowledge or accept any accomplishments of the current sitting U.S. president, who happens to be black. That's why the us has vowed to deprive him of any lasting legacy of his presidency. The us has vowed to revoke Obamacare. The us has vowed to oppose any meaningful gun safety legislation. The us has vowed to prevent any compassionate immigration reforms. How are we doing so far? Which brings me to my other concern. The current seemingly innocuous campaign slogan, "Make America Great Again." I remind you of that earlier MLK quote, "Nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscious stupidity." Now, we don't want to be accused of intellectual snobbery, nor do we want to hold ourselves up as the proprietors of all that's progressive, nationally accurate and progressive. However, I can find no logical or historical rationale for this campaign statement coined by the current GOP presidential frontrunner. As a matter of fact, it reeks of ignorance and stupidity. But unfortunately, it happens to be one of those statements that I believe Dr. King would classify as dangerous. It bears repeating. Nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscious stupidity. I bet you by the time you get home tonight, like its sister slogan, Take Back America, this Make America Great Again mantra is intentionally based on an utterly false concept. It's a concept that attempts to describe a nation which has plummeted from international supremacy into an abyss of financial, military, and moral decline. I said it's a false premise. This Make America Great Again refrain creates the illusion of a national political messiah. And it is this fictional messiah who will rescue us from the chaos of tumultuous financial ruin and miraculously save the nation. This blonde, blue-eyed messiah will lift us up from the smoldering embers of rural and urban catastrophe and will ultimately make America a color-blind society. He says he has hundreds of black pastors who absolutely love him. This billionaire and privileged messiah will descend from the penthouse above his tower to bring Russia to its knees, crush Libya, and destroy every trace of ISIS and the Taliban the day after his inauguration. Yes, it is conscious stupidity. I love to say that. Stupidity. Who expects anyone to build a 2,000-mile wall between the U.S. and Mexico to keep out undocumented immigrants? Who expects the enactment of a federal policy that would legally discriminate against Muslims? These are some examples of what Dr. King defined as conscious what? Stupidity. All right. in front of our TV sets, in the comfort and security of our homes, and be dismissive of what appears to be that candidate's conscious stupidity. Or more to the point, the conscious stupidity of the masses who idolize him. But again, I refer you to Dr. King's statement, nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscious stupidity. Because while we remain perched on our lofty branches of intellectual superiority and political alertness and scoff at the conscious stupidity being laid out before us on national TV, something dangerous is happening. There are hundreds and thousands, maybe millions of uninformed, politically naive, but angry, frustrated, and desperate folk who hear a message of false hope. I'm battling here with the technology a little bit. So, there are multitudes of disgruntled Americans who are sincere in their ignorance of the facts, sincere in their desire to reclaim the good old days. Those were the days when a high school diploma was a safe ticket to the middle class. Those were the days when suburbia USA was the ultimate escape from the crime and grime of urban America. Those were the days before heroin addiction drove past the inner city limits and morphed into opiate dependence in the burbs. Those were the days before welfare queens became a multi-racial, multicultural phenomenon. Those were the days before park benches and city sidewalks became the bedrooms of mentally and physically disabled military veterans of all colors. So, these multitudes of disgruntled Americans, they don't care about the implausibility of how presidential campaigns or the candidates plan to make America great again. They don't care about the logistics of that. They simply want the America they were promised. They want the America of the Eisenhower era they had read about. They want the America of the Kennedy years they heard about. And although many of them came of age during the Nixon, Carter, and Bush administrations, many of today's white disgruntled never actually experienced this great, bountiful America they've heard so much about. Their collective experience has been of failed wars, closed factories, exported jobs, high unemployment, and foreclosed homes and farms. So, they simply want the America they were promised. And when someone comes along and makes that promise, no matter how improbable, folk grab at it desperately. So as a result, they don't hear the same message of conscious or intentional stupidity that we do. They receive a different interpretation of the same message of stupidity we all hear. They hear that the Messiah is coming to make their living conditions better. They hear that the Messiah will bring lucrative manufacturing jobs from Canada and Mexico back to their hometowns. They hear that the Messiah will close off the southern borders and even the northern borders, if possible, to keep those Spanish-speaking and Canadian-speaking foreigners out of the U.S. They hear that the Messiah will create a utopic society of unbridled opportunity for them and their progeny forever and ever. But friends, I'm here to tell you today that it's more than stupid. It's dangerous.
Right.
Whether it's Germany between 1919 and 1933, where an individual thirst for power and supremacy used a combination of fabrication, mythology, and ruthlessness to rise to power, or Birmingham, Alabama, where a racist commissioner of public safety, did somebody say Bill Connor, was allowed to terrorize blacks for 22 years, so that by the historic 1965 Birmingham to Selma March, Birmingham had earned the distinction as the most racist city in America and probably the world. These are but a few examples of how conscious stupidity inflicted on vulnerable masses of the sincere ignorant can become catastrophic. But it doesn't have to be that way ever again, because Martin Luther King Jr. said, the ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people. So are we going to sit in silence until some over-ambitious megalomaniac receives the power to inflict his version of Make America Great Again on us? Are we content to slip back into complacency and hope nothing comes of it? No? I wish I had a witness to all that. So I urge you, if you're not involved in some community, civic, or political activity, to get involved tomorrow. My mistake. Some people can't take a joke. For those of you, I'm getting to you. For those of you who are already involved, take a minute to talk to others about your activities, your passion, your life's work, and your desire to leave this world in better shape than you found it. Finally, I will leave you with this Martin Luther King Jr. quote. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Thank you.
You have to promise me you're going to stay for the rest of the program, because I have these wonderful speakers here. But we're going to rock with Journey, Blue Heaven, and the Woodstockers. We're going to celebrate.
It's such an honor to be here with all of you.
I thought it was the end.
Gather round, people, I got a song to sing about a life and religion of a man called Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was born a sharecropper's son. All the bigots hated him, he never hurt no one. I've been to the mountaintop, today I have a dream. Don't you ever forget the words of in the words of Martin Luther King. All right, here we go. And I've been to the mountain top. Today I had a dream. Don't you ever forget the words of Martin Luther King. That was last song. Been to the mountain top. Today I had a dream. Don't you ever forget the words of Martin Luther King. You guys Richard Robbie on this song about a Martin Luther King song original that he wrote for y'all.
This song is about Martin Luther King Day.
Woo, Robbie time!
Shot now. Everyone was singing a good song. It was a song day, one thing to sing now. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. King Day, once a thing now. Everybody was singing a good song. Simple song now. Just keep on smiling and you'll get along.
I'm going to sing one more for y'all that I wrote for Cooper Lake and all of Woodstock, for all the folkies out there. It's called Waters of Faith. We are now creeping on the tender hours of the planet's oceans, and I look Cooper Lake on. Like a mermaid of freshwater flowers, she spreads her wings and has conversations with frogs. And with a twinkling flicker of light, it reminds us now of our superhuman born of God. So let us drink from the waters of faith, and let the natives clear out of their supposed slumber. And let all weary dream of the voices we heard, of the sound of the word as it rings out as thunder. And she would speak out, but she's too busy meditating on what it's like to be water. And she would speak out, but she's too busy quenching the thirst of your sons and daughters. And the treetops glisten up to the magnificent sky. As the pine trees growing, discussing techniques and knowing what world to do. And for more than 1,000 years, she's sustaining her life. And giving more than she ever had beyond her own strife. So let us drink from the waters of faith, and let the natives rear out of their complacent slumber. And let all who are weary drink. Let the voices be heard by the sound of the word as it rings out as thunder. And she would speak out, but she's too busy teaching your kids to skip your life. And she would speak out, but she's too busy helping the chefs come into the dark. So let us all drink from the waters of faith. Never stop believing. Helping each other to hold each other up. Thank you, everyone. It was so wonderful to be here. Thank you so much.
Please, I want to thank George on the drums, Ray on the bass, Robin Turner on the guitar, and last but not least, Venezuela Alex on the congas. We were so happy to share this with you today. Thank you very much. Praise God.
Unbelievable! Woohoo! She's the true Woodstock gal with her posse. Okay, you all promised you're going to stay. But first of all, I just wanted to say something about somebody else, not on our program. A person who's in my heart. Call me Ishmael. You call me Ishmael. Right. I am a major supporter, and I hope you all become, of Ishmael Shabazz. Because what does the system do? You take a man who fights for justice, for kids. He's from Kingston, but we think he's one of us. And what does he do? What happens? He gets framed up by an FBI informant. I do not like this. And in my heart, I say, call me Ishmael. Briefly, Ishmael, I believe you're going to come up with Joan? 2 minutes, because our program is very long. Do not leave. We have 3 amazing people to speak after this. And I guess I should.
My name is Joe Barton, and this is Ishmael Shabazz. On Martin King Day, we celebrate a man whose life and activism changed the way America sees race. Progress was made, but we are still fighting racism today, as we all know. I live in Kingston, and Ishmael is my longtime friend and neighbor. He's been an activist in Kingston for 20 years. He has worked to de-escalate violence, to get guns off the street, to keep kids in school. He's worked to get the schools to serve children in poverty, black children, children in need. Ishmael was president of the Ulster County NAACP. He has served on various community boards, with law enforcement, with school officials, with Judge Williams. In 2005, Hal Turner, a Klansman from New Jersey, came to Kingston, came to Ulster County, tried to escalate a schoolyard fight into a racial incident. Judge Williams, who doesn't really give anybody credit but himself, gives Ishmael credit for de-escalating what could have been a violent confrontation. In 2009, money became available to push a federal agenda to find Assata Shakur. As a former Black Panther, Ishmael Shabazz was targeted for possible ties. In the course of that investigation, literally nothing actionable was found by the federal government. They got his phone records, they used Homeland Security funds. But our local people who don't want, our local law enforcement who don't want Ishmael's voice, who don't want his advocacy for the vulnerable, who want to keep feeding the prison pipelines, continued to prosecute and indicted him for charges that wouldn't even be possible before the SAFE Act. Michael Sussman feels that he is not guilty, feels that he can get him off, has taken the case. For those of you who don't know, Michael Sussman is a very amazing, yes, Michael Sussman! Woo! Yes, yeah. He's taken the case, but there are literally hundreds of hours of audio and video evidence that need to be perused and addressed. He cannot afford to do that for free. He's giving Ishmael an incredible reduced rate. He's actually helped financially in many ways. We need to pay him back and keep him on the case. I'm asking people here today if they would be involved in the long run. This is Dawn Deavy from Engine, and she's got some paper and a basket. We need money right now to keep Michael on the case. So anything you can give, if you can give 25 cents, whatever you can give, and we need people to be involved in the long run. So sign up, and that's it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So let's all say it. Call me Ishmael. There's a court hearing in the back. There's some papers. I think the next hearing is February 2nd. It makes a difference being there. Okay, you all promised you were going to stay because we have 3 outstanding cases to hear about. I think I'm going to call up next Samuel Harrell, I keep saying that wrong, was murdered in Fishkill Correctional Institution on April 21st. He thought he was going home to his wife. He was murdered by a gang of prison guards, and the New York Times says that. And they should be, and I think they were charged with, or should be, it was a homicide. Okay, we have The Harrell family here. Diane right here in the first row. Would you stand up? Too loud? What? I'm too loud. This is Diane. The widow and GP. Children are here. Sam's sisters are here. Sam's sister Julia. Sam's sister is here. Sam's beautiful niece, Julia, yes, is going to say a word or two, or three, or four. Okay, let's welcome her. This is the family still in the shop. Come on. The beautiful wife of Sam. Sister, oh yes, you. And the beautiful niece. So this is a family that needs our support.
My name is Sarissa Harrell. I want to thank you guys for having us here today. My sister-in-law and my niece. We're here on behalf of my brother, Samuel Harrell, who was killed April 21st, 2015 in Fishkill Correctional Facility. His life was taken by a gang of correctional officers that brutally beat him. He had a bipolar disorder that, it started bothering him. And 5 months prior, we lost our mother. So he was in there struggling with the death of our mother and other things. And that day, he thought he was going home. He thought me and his wife was coming to get him. And instead of the officers doing their job and helping him, getting him help, or, getting somebody to speak to him, they instead handcuffed him, beat him, kicked him, threw him down some stairs, and took my brother's life. To this day, we are fighting for justice. We're going to continue fighting. There's progress being made on the case. I'd rather not say what's being done, but we're making progress. If we do these things, it bothers me that I have to stand up here and talk about the injustice and what's going on, especially to, a lot of our black men in this world, a lot of our black females in this world. It saddens me that, I have to get up here and speak about it, but I have to. If I don't, nothing's going to be done, and I can't just let my brother die in vain. So, it doesn't matter how many of these events I have to go to, I'm going to keep going to them and let this story be heard. Wonderful person. He loves his stepkids. There's two more that's missing, but he loves them to death. He loves his nieces. He loves me. He was very family oriented. We was raised in the church. We believe in God. We believe in being equal and respecting others. Yes, he was in prison for criminal cell. He didn't take anybody's life. He didn't disrespect anybody. He made a poor judgment that caused him to have to go to jail for a couple years. But what he endured was not right for what he went there for. He didn't deserve that for any human. So I just want to say thank you for having us and to pray for us. And if you can help us fight, we really appreciate it. And
we're in the fight, right, everybody? Yeah. What can we do to help you?
Samuel Harrell is his name. Samuel D. Harrell.
What can we do to help?
I know we have one online. We have a petition. It's called Justice for Samuel Harrell. You can go up there and it's on move.org, move1.org. You can sign that. And you can pay attention to the news as the case progresses. We go to protest. His year anniversary will be April 21st. We're going to do something for him. So we'll keep you guys posted, and the support is welcome. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Wendy, I'm sorry. Good evening. How you doing, folks? All right. Let me tell you how important this case is. When we look at mass incarceration and how it affects black men across the country, we don't have to go to St. Louis. We don't have to go to Cleveland. We don't even have to go to Staten Island. It's right here. All right? It's right here. You want to hear something? You want to see what this fight is about? The DA's name is Brady. All right? He's in Poughkeepsie, New York. This case is going to be a year old. Do you remember whose case was a year old before they decided to do something? You understand, these cases are very important, and I really applaud the family for steadfastness, but we have to stand with them. Right. I'm serious. This battle is not going to be won by the Harrell family. It's going to be won by us, the whole community. And I'm challenging you now, when you hear about the demonstrations, to come out. Because we're going after Grady with everything we got. We're going after Grady. All right? Everybody, we're building our army up now. When we talk about mass incarceration, we fighting it. All right? So just keep in touch and be a part of this. Thank you. All right. Okay. Now we're going to talk about another battle. The next battle is another family. Shane Watson has been in jail over 20-some years, 22 years. And actually, he's innocent. But the DA refused to look at the case again. I'm calling up Shane's wife and Will Duchamp from Connecticut, who's been working on this case, I guess, since day one. And they're going to talk about what it is as a family. See, these stories are just that. They're stories from the family. But we the ones got to put it in political context and take it to the streets. All right? As these families tell the story, we the ones got to change it until political action, street action. All right? We have to turn these into street actions. And as we talk, as Sam's wife and Will talk, keep it in mind that there's something we could do. We could do something in this community. The battle is far from over. And as the pastor said, you know, where do you stand? What side are you on? All right? I talked to Sam's mother this morning, and Joan. Yeah, and she's in Virginia. She was trying to get here. I told her I would put her on the speaker, but because the program is running long, she said, Paula know what to say. Paula know what to say. So come on up. Come on up. Come on up.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here on this evening with you all. I'm Paula Watson, the wife of Shane Watson. I had the pleasure of meeting Shane in 2006. It was basically a setup. A co-worker of mine, her husband was in prison. And she said, he has this great friend, he's a Christian guy, named Shane. And she had been taking a cab out there. She was paying like $120 from Kingston to Fishkill Correctional. And I was like, I can take you. And so they basically set me up to meet Shane. The first time I actually met Shane, it was like a therapy session with me because I was just breaking out of a relationship. So I was telling him all this stuff, and he was, we prayed, and he's a great man of faith. And little did I know, to make a long story short, he had been praying for a wife for 14 years. There you are! I'm that wife.
Yay!
We shared 2 beautiful kids together, Zion and Diane. Together, in a total we have 10 children. Shane is a great father. He loves his children with a passion. And he's just so grateful for all the help. And I would like to give a big, big hand clap to NJAN. Mr. Odell, I love you. Terry, I love you. All the members from NJAN who really stood behind and, made flyers and media. And I thank you so much for your hard work and dedication to get this case out. And my brother, God bless him. He started the Opus 30 mission, Shane Watson. Shane Watson. He's been working with Shane since 2004. A lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. I love this man with my whole heart. And Shane does too. Shane sends his regards, and I know he's probably pacing the walls, wondering what's going on. But I just wanted to share, his mom, Joan Watson from Fredericksburg, Virginia, she wished she could be here. She sends her regards. And she wanted to talk, but she said I could talk for her. Yes. I'm going to pass the mic to Will. He can give a lot of details. He works very closely with the lawyer Robert Boyle and the investigator Doug Walters and many more of the team that we share and fighting for justice for Shane Watson. Not only for justice for Shane Watson, but all men who are incarcerated, wrongly convicted, and it's taken from the community, from their family, loved ones, and friends. So, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Will Duchamp.